So like I began, how sweet was that, Murli? What do you feel when you listen to those words? Do you sometimes find you can feel at that time as you listen, yes, Baba, I can be that almighty authority. Yes, Baba, I can become so unshakable and stable. And how much love and support does Baba give to us to step up into that stage of last cycle and become the person that we know I can become, that's buried inside of me. And I often remember, I'm sure I've mentioned here, that my first meeting with Baba had a huge impact on me. I was so new, I was only a few months in Gyan. It was in the history hall. And at the end of the Murli, I was invited to come and sit in front of Baba. There was 3 foreigners at that time. And I had the experience, it was my first face-to-face meeting with Baba. Baba gave me drishti. And Baba would often meet with a few minutes of drishti. And I had the experience that Baba's drishti was like a laser beam that went zzz, right into the soul and like scanned the soul. And in my experience was sort of Baba's drishti fell on a part of me that had gone to sleep, you know, the original me, the elevated me, perhaps that form of the almighty authority, the victorious soul. And it's like Baba's drishti fell on that and massaged that to the surface and introduced me to who I really was, or at least my potential. And I can honestly say that night, something in me shifted. Baba's drishti unlocked something that had gone to sleep. That elevated vision on myself, I suppose you could say. Because, you know, I often feel Baba sees the soul. He knows our potential, each one of us sitting here. He can see it, but we can't see it. We're stuck in a vision of limitation. And in a way, Baba Aviyak Babdada, even this morning, he's saying, children, actually, this is who you really are. It's not something that you hope you'll become. You are that fearless being. You are that almighty authority. You are that victorious soul. Just step into that place. And really, I think this is the biggest learning curve of Brahman life. To step out of my self-imposed limitation, which is what body consciousness is. This self-imposed limitation, all what I'm not. Even as a long-term BK, I put myself in a prison of what I'm not, what I can't do, and step into God's vision. How did he speak to us this morning? He sees us as world benefactors, so elevated. And sometimes I think, have I taken this gift of self-respect? The self-respect of being the Master Almighty Authority, the victorious soul, etc. I remember once Baba said, this is the gift from God. And Baba said, as much as you have self-respect, you can respect everyone. As much as you have self-respect, you will be humble. Actually, the visible appearance of one who has self-respect is humility. As much as you have self-respect, you will be loving and you will be loved. As much as you have self-respect, you will be benevolent. All the things. What an incredible gift. And you know, sometimes I think When we began the cycle, we were full. We were full of this naturally, we were full. Absolutely blooming in self-respect. Naturally, all the powers were there. When I came to the copper age, I'd lost a little bit. I began to look outside. The law of life says, whatever I desire will influence me. If I desire you to love me, if I desire you to respect me, if I desire you to support me, that will, when you love me, I feel high. When you don't, I feel low. When you respect me, I feel high. When you don't. So I began to dance to the tune of drama. I lost my power. I lost everything. And I came to the end of the cycle and I became so sensitive to everything. In fact, often I feel not even sensitive, hypersensitive to just the facial expression of somebody, a word from somebody, a vibration from somebody, a memory can change how I feel. I was the almighty authority, the master almighty authority, and I became powerless in that way. And we step into the confluence age. And yet, I think in this world, often we develop self-confidence. That means I have the confidence to do things. And that's what people in the world, a lot of people out there have a lot of confidence. It doesn't mean they have self-respect. And this is this incredible gift that Baba is giving us. And you know, I often feel there's 4 visions on the soul. At this time, all of us have this drishti on us. The vision of the world will box you and label you in 0.001 of a second. As soon as you're seen, your bodily image, you will be labeled. That's the nature of the world. There's the vision of others. Because no one has self-respect. They can't respect anyone. And so we've had a whole lifetime of experiencing critical vision. Sometimes in our families, sometimes in the Lokik world, we're used to this drishti of disrespect and criticism. There's the vision of myself on myself. And you know, in my experience, this is the biggest obstacle in Brahman life. Often we think it's another person. This person's a real problem. They don't like me. They block me. No. The biggest obstacle is my relationship with myself. And in a way, this is the soul Baba was talking to today. How do I, at this point in my Brahman journey, after so many years in Gyan, what is my drishti on myself? How do I see myself? Do I see myself as that victorious, almighty authority, or am I stuck in all the limitation? Baba said this morning, children, you're a bestower. Children, you're an angel. Children, you're the master almighty authority. And what do we say? No, Baba. No, I'm not. You don't know what I'm like. Actually, it's Baba who knows me. It's me. I am stuck in this place, this prison, this self-created prison of limitation. I'm stuck in this reality that I'm weak and I can't do this and I'm not educated and I don't know this, and this is all self-created. To me, the story of the yagya, Baba was talking to the daddies this morning. They had the courage to step out of their self-imposed prison and step into God's vision. Because that 4th vision is Baba's vision. Look how he was seeing us this morning. Baba sees us, each one of us, in such an elevated way. And this is the truth. So what is Brahman life? What is Brahman life? Brahman life is stepping out of my vision and stepping into God's vision. Stepping out of this self-created prison of what I'm not, what I can't do, my past, my mistakes, my weaknesses, and stepping into the vision of Baba. And if I sometimes feel for myself, when I feel a bit limited in my drishti on myself, you know the question I ask myself? Have I recognized who's teaching me? If I'm stuck in this lack of self-respect, just stuck in this place of lack of self-respect, I think it's a sign I haven't really recognized who's teaching me. Yes, there's limited recognition. But if I really recognize totally who Baba is, I will step into his vision. What is self-respect? It's my own evaluation of the inner me. It's not an evaluation of my skills, my talents, my successes, my achievements. That's the Lokik view. It's when you're on your own, how do you feel about yourself? Because sometimes I've seen Brahmins can be universally loved and can't love themselves, can be, really universally admired but can't respect themselves, can be a high achiever, do a lot, but still feel a failure. Why? Because I can't live up to my own expectations. And you know what I sometimes feel? What is the deep work of Brahman life? Do I just turn up for Murli, just turn up every day, listen, I repeat the points, then go home and sit in my limited self again? I just remain stuck in my own little limited world. Sometimes I think we create our comfort zones. We live in this very comfortable little life, but I don't step outside where I'm challenged, because the more I'm challenged, it's healthy. I grow when I'm challenged, And, this life is actually removing these beliefs I hold about myself. Because for 63 births, we've etched into my psyche, I'm not good enough. It is so strong. God is saying, you are the best. But my inner voice is saying, you're not good enough. No matter how well I do, my inner voice keeps saying, you're not good enough. This is my body consciousness. This is the deep work of Brahman life, to remove this attachment to a false sense of who I am, this old self, this body conscious self. Or the belief I'm inferior. Not one of us is inferior to anybody. When I'm self-conscious, I have the vision of equality. I don't feel better or worse than anyone. And it's sometimes the habit, because someone has a position, someone has a role, someone has authority. I feel I'm inferior. I am not inferior. I am the child of God. Well, sometimes I hold the belief I'm not lovable. People don't really want me or love me or belong. All of these beliefs are so strong. I've created them. Gyan, to be knowledgeful, is to dismantle these beliefs and step into the person who I know I can be. The drama is invoking it. The people of the world is invoking it. Baba's invoking it. Time is invoking us to step out of my little cage, my little prison, my comfortable little self, and be the person I really want to be. We know it and we believe it. It's like, do I have the courage? This is the ultimate love for God, that I let go my old self and I really become who he wants me to be. And this is why I think the daddies were so amazing, because they had the courage really to do that, to really do that. And this is the biggest learning curve of Brahman life. And there's phases of this rebuilding of my self-respect, so I really become the master almighty authority. stable on the seat no matter what happens, unshakable, immovable. And you know, when I started, and I was taking my baby steps, and we listen to all these things, and we know it and we believe it. And I think the first step of change is just changing habits. Habits are things that are created from this life, by my family, by my culture, my food habits, my sleeping habits. They change pretty quickly. But I remember observing one thing in myself, that I had a strong habit to try to please other people. Why? Because when there's not much self-respect, where do I get respect from? From others. So we become people pleasers. A lot of us are people pleasers because if I get a little bit of respect from you, I feel okay. So sometimes we become beggars of approval from other people. And I began to see how clearly that had become a part of my story. No, we need to let this go. And this is the big learning curve, isn't it? And I think then I realized that in this life, we take our baby steps and then we try to live up to an image. Baba gives us this image of this perfect Brahma Kumar or Kumari. And it's an incredibly high standard and it's perfect. That is my aim. And that should always be my aim. But I've got to be wise that I'm a work in progress. I've left the shore of the old world, but I haven't reached the new world. Why I say this is because some, seeing the aim, feel hopeless, feel it's too high. And often we just put on our white clothes, we wear our badge, we look the image on the surface, but inside there can be, you know, storms and upheaval going on. And sometimes I see, oh, others seem to be okay, they seem to be fine. Why am I having these storms and upheaval? But, you know, we all have to pass through these things. I think sometimes the bhakti sanskara to look good on the surface, but inside, you know, I'm something different, I'm something else. What helped me is that understanding, yes, Baba, I am going to keep the highest aim, but I've got to be wise how to manage the process. I'm in the process of transformation. And you know what I learned is to be gentle with myself. If I'm not reaching that perfection, understand, don't overreact to yourself and start to talk down to yourself and then reinforce the old story. I'm not good enough. I'm inferior, all these sorts of things. No, I've got to nurture myself as I grow into this Master Almighty authority. Be gentle with yourself. What I learned, rather than seeing how far I have to go, see how far I've come. Honestly, the fact we're sitting in this hall is incredible. Each one of us should be so proud. I've had the courage to change myself. I've had the courage to become pure. So I take the baby steps. At first, I tried to live up to this image. You'll have to give blessings to my throat. It will improve. And how sweet is the family. I've been given 108 different medicines for my throat in the last week. Everyone keeps giving me all sorts of recipes. The third thing is like self-acceptance. And this is very deep, actually, because Baba gives us this truth to become pure. And if there's any impurity in me, especially if there's some attraction to somebody, there's lustful thoughts or feelings, whatever it may be, what do? I reject myself. I reject myself. That is violence. I put myself down. I start to repeat again, I'm hopeless, I'm useless, I'm no good, I can't become pure. You know, there's two waves of vices, I think. The first is anger, ego, greed, lust, and attachment will come to every single Brahman soul in different forms. Every single one. Not one of us was pure when we came. But the real damage is the reaction to my vices. Shame, guilt, fear, lack of self-respect. When I see, I overreact. A knowledgeful soul won't overreact. A knowledgeful soul knows I'm in the path of transformation. I'm in the path of change. These things, Baba says every day, storms will come. They will come. The thing is, just hang on in there. Remain knowledgeful. Don't become emotional. Sometimes we get so emotional and disturbed and upset. A knowledgeful soul knows that these things will come. And so I learn wisdom, how to manage this path of self-change, not to overreact to myself, but still not to be careless as well and just think, oh. And then even as I start to settle into Brahman life deeply, I start to become more stable. Sometimes the question comes on this journey, this big learning curve to the Master Almighty Authority, to have stable self-respect. What's my role? What's my role in drama? Where do I belong in this Brahman family? Don't underestimate how important that is. Why? Because for 63 births, I've defined myself by what I do. I've defined myself by what I do. Baba defines me by who I am. But I'm on this journey of moving from defining myself by what I do, my role, my position, my responsibility, to who I am. Like even Baba said today, serving through the face, not even words. And what happens is we come into Brahman life and this is my family, this is where I belong, this is my truth. And then I say to Baba, Baba, I want to help in your task. I've let go my gross ego of being aware how I look, how I dress, all that gross body consciousness, that gross ego. But because I haven't become soul-conscious, I haven't developed self-respect, I often rebuild a subtle ego within my Brahman life. I rebuild, and I rebuild it around doing once again. Because my sense of self-respect before Gyan came from what I do, my position in society, my role in the company, my job title. And I reform that within Brahman life sometimes. My role in service, my position. And what that does, it flushes out a whole set of sanskaras that are sitting in me. Jealousy, competition, defensiveness, territorial nature. This is my area, that's your area. Don't you come into my area. This is me and I'm responsible for this. You know, you mind your own business. Is this how Brahman life should be? You know, no, but it reforms within me. I used to think it shouldn't happen, but now I believe it will happen to all of us. On the service field, it will flush out all this stuff, but we've got to let it go. This is Baba's task. This is Baba's center. These are Baba's children. Just the insecurity. It's all about insecurity. I've built my self-respect around the security of what I do. So if someone threatens my role, sometimes I oppose them. I don't accept them. I think, or I become suspicious of them. I think, oh, I've got to be careful of this person. Actually, it's my jealousy. It's these things. You know, there's so many phases to pass through. And really, you know, what is my role? My role is to be an angel, to be beyond all this stuff. And really stepping into my sense of self-respect, to really become the almighty authority. It's a learning curve, it's a journey. But keep on the journey, keep letting go. Even I need to accept my capacity. I live with some Brahmins who can do so much. They're 24/7, they're doing, achieving, and I compare and think I can't do as much. When you have self-respect, life becomes easy. I feel comfortable with who I am. And when I can accept me and I feel comfortable with me, I'll accept everybody. If you're finding it difficult to accept other Brahmins, it's mainly because I haven't accepted me deeply. When I feel absolutely, I'm Baba's child, I'm playing my eternal part, my role, I have that self-value, I love everybody and I can enjoy everybody. So I notice that Prabhupada is standing there. So, and one of the things we need to develop is a subtle intellect that can pick up signals. So anyway, just it's time to wind up. And it's lovely to be here and lovely to see everyone online as well. So a special hello to everyone online. It's great to see you and thank you everyone. Om Shanti.